learning English but find it difficult, confusing, even mysterious? Are you an English teacher but find English grammar easier to use than to explain? Well, don't worry. On this show, I'll be your language detective. I'll answer your questions about the English language and help you solve these English mysteries. It's Hard-Boiled English Live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hard-Boiled English Live. I'm your host, teacher Paul Duke. We are streaming to you live from Vancouver, Canada, on the west coast of North America, streaming through Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, FC2, Africa TV, Dailymotion. We are live on Twitter. We are wherever you want to find us, and we are live. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. On this show, I answer your questions about the English language and help you better understand this crazy language that we share. Thoughts are with the people in Europe, particularly in the Ukraine. There are serious things happening in the world right now, but this is a show where we can take a break from those and focus on our learning and our shared experience. So let's set aside the heavy news that we've been hearing. Pray for the people if you want. Send your best wishes. But let's get down to business of learning English, okay? To start the show with, guys, I'd like you to say hello in the comment thread and tell me what country you're watching from. Wherever in the world you are welcome to join us. For those of you who don't know me, let me tell you a few things about myself. I am the host of the YouTube channel, Hard-Boiled English, and on that channel you can find a whole bunch of different videos. You can, of course, find the recordings of these shows. So if you do miss them, you can watch them the following morning when I post them on YouTube in full, not just clips. You can also find my main series there, English Weirdness, which is a series I make with my students. And this English Weirdness is a long-form explanation of specific strange grammar points. That's English Weirdness. Look for this logo. Okay? You can also find episodes of the English Education Podcast that I co-host with my colleagues John McGraw and Anish Daya, frequent guest of the show. Our most recent guest is Mr. Kawatani Takashi, an educator and business cross-cultural consultant in Japan who works with Japanese companies abroad, preparing them for English as used in the business environment. Very interesting podcast. We have another one coming soon. And then actually we're going to take a short break as our season of podcasts winds down. Okay, that's the podcast. Now, special announcement. Coming this week, Tuesday, March 1st, I'm hosting a webinar. And this is part of a new series I'm hosting. I'll be hosting once a month writing-focused webinars. These are focused on writing skills. And this is part of an overall program I'm putting together for online courses. So pretty soon, you'll be able to download my online writing courses from a platform. So stay posted for that. If you want to sign up for this, it's totally free, but I do need you to send me an email to confirm that you want a spot in the live webinar. That's this Tuesday, March 1st. Now that's Vancouver time, where I am. That's Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you calculate it for whatever country you're in. So email me at hardboiledenglish6@gmail.com and I'll save a spot for you. Totally free to register. I'm not charging anything for this. It's a free 30 to 45 minute webinar where I'm going to focus on a very specific element of English writing to help you improve your writing skills. Okay, well, let's say hello to those of you who have joined us so far. Maybe we can pop them up on screen for a couple minutes on the chat overlay. Yeah, let's share the screen. So we have Wako from Japan joining us. We have Carmen from Lima, Peru. We have my friend Franco the tutor from Peru. Who else has joined us? We have Chris from Belgium. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us, Chris. We've missed you the last couple weeks, I think. We have Jasmine Schmal from, I'm not sure where Jasmine's from. Oh, wherever you're from, Jasmine, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Yes, it has been a while, Jasmine. Yes, you're from the United States. Wonderful. What state or what city are you in? We have Chris from Brazil. Maria Cristina, welcome. Who else has joined us? Always one of my favorite things to see all the different places you guys are from. Yeah, Chris from Brazil. Jasmine, what city are you in? New Hampshire. Okay, wonderful, wonderful area. I think actually a friend of mine lives close to there. I think he's in Maine, and they're getting a lot of snow. Is there a lot of snow where you are in New Hampshire, Jasmine? I can't remember exactly. I think New Hampshire is pretty close. Meredith, yeah. I think New Hampshire is pretty close to Maine. Maybe off. Yes. Good. Okay. We have someone, Sakurako from Tokyo, Japan. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you with us. By the way, in our podcast, the Ego Education podcast, Miss Sakurako was our third or fourth guest, fourth episode, I think. You might want to check that out and see what she gets involved in. She's also a business consultant, business English consultant. Okay. Chris says, yes, I was so busy with school that I didn't make it to stay awake. Yeah, I know. Chris is in Belgium, in Northern Europe, and I think it's 4 a.m. now for Chris, and she stays awake to watch our show. Really appreciate that, Chris. Thank you. Sakurako was number 3. Okay, great. Episode 3. Great. Thank you. That was a wonderful conversation. Really enjoyed meeting you and talking about all the different things you do. We have Daya Nand with us. Daya, where are you from? I think this is the first time you've joined us. What city or country are you in, Daya? Great to have you with us. Who else is joining the show? Start thinking about your questions, guys. I have 2 questions I want to get to first because they've been left over from previous shows. And then we'll be open to your questions. So start thinking about them. Maybe don't ask them in the comments quite yet, because sometimes I lose them in the thread. But start thinking about them. We have Shimreen Kip from India with us. Shimreen, hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. Shimreen, welcome to the show. All the way from India. We have Belgium, we have India, we have Brazil, we have Japan. Great to have Peru. We have such a nice variety of folks watching. It's wonderful. New Hampshire is in the house. Okay, wonderful. Okay, guys, usually we start with a vocabulary piece. We're going to wait a little while for that. So I'm going to start and take care of a couple of questions that are outstanding. Let's go to the first one. I think it's related to the word would. So one of our viewers was watching the news and somebody said, I would say that, I think they said something like, I would say that will have significant impacts. Okay? And this person's asking, they've never seen this use of would. I would say that this will have significant impacts on whatever. I think it was an economics or a finance show. So they're talking about money in stock markets. But it's this expression here. I would say that this will have a significant impact. This will have significant impacts. So this person's asking, what does this mean when we say, I would say? Because clearly they're saying it. This is their opinion, right? This will have significant impacts. And in fact, you could just say, this will have significant impacts. That's my opinion. If I say it, clearly it's my opinion. So actually, you don't even need to say things like, in my opinion, this will have significant impacts. You could just say, this will have significant impacts. It's your opinion, so it's clear who said it. But usually we say things like, I think this will have significant impacts, or in my opinion, this will have significant impacts. That's more common But sometimes you hear this, I would say. And the mystery is the word would. Some of you have learned English grammar and you may have learned about conditionals. Actually, we have a conditionals chart somewhere. Can we pop that up on screen? Where is it? Yeah, right there. Yeah. So if you look at this chart, we have 4 basic conditional structures. Now there's some variations, right? But if you look at second and third conditional, look how they're structured. In second conditional, if I had a basketball, I would play today. Or if it were sunny out, I'd go outside and shoot hoops. And I'm sure you've heard the example of a second conditional. If I had $1 million right now, I would buy a new car or a new house. And in third conditional, we're talking about the past. If I had finished my homework yesterday, I would have gone out and played. But if you look on the right side, we see this big purple sign that says unreal. In English conditional structure, the second conditional and the third conditional are referring to something not real. It's referring to something hypothetical. Okay, so for example, if I had a basketball, I would play today. But what they're saying is, I don't have a basketball, so I will not play today. But if I had a basketball, I would play. So it's a kind of imaginary situation. It's a hypothetical situation. Or if it were sunny out, I'd go out and shoot hoops. But it's not sunny out today, it's raining, so I can't shoot hoops. So it's talking about the present and an unreal situation in the present, a dream situation, if you will. Third conditional is talking about the past. And of course, the past was once real, but in the present, the past is no longer real. It's just a memory. So when you use third conditional, you're talking about something that could have or would have happened in the past, but didn't. If I had finished my homework yesterday, I would have gone out and played. But guess what was real? Actually, really, I didn't finish my homework, so I didn't go out and play. And the common denominator, the common word here, is would. And if you compare the bottom 2, second and third conditional, with the zero conditional and the first conditional that are real, only the second and third have this word would. Okay? So let's clear the screen. The word would is the magic word that indicates something's not real. And it comes from this conditional meaning. If I had $1 million, I don't, I would buy a sports car, a Ferrari. But guess what's true? What's true is I do not have $1 million in my pocket, so I will not buy a Ferrari today. Not today. Maybe in the future. But right now it's not true. It's a dream. I'm expressing my dream or my wish or a possibility. I can imagine it. Humans can imagine the impossible. We can imagine the unreal, right? If I had wings, I would fly. Clearly I don't have wings, so there's no flying, right? I'm stuck here on the floor. The word would communicates this not real. So when you say something like this is a kind of implied conditional. What you're saying is maybe something like this. If I had no choice but to offer my opinion. So this is the if part of the sentence, or if you asked me, or if I were asked, anything. It's all kinds of possible ifs. If this happened, I would say this. So let's imagine the conversation. Paul, what do you think about the impacts of the stock market today? Well, I would say that this will have significant impacts. When I say I would say, what I'm doing is I'm allowing wiggle room. This is called hedging. It's a way of saying an opinion, but also saying it's not really your opinion. Okay? So that later, if someone says, hey, Paul, you said this would have significant impacts, and it doesn't, you can say, I never said it was going to happen. I said I would say that if I had to, or if someone asked me. So this is a strange expression that allows someone, like someone on the news or a politician, they can go backwards from something they said. And they can say, I didn't really say it. Because that's implying that this is not real. It's not really their opinion. It's not strongly asserted. Maybe they don't quite believe it. So it's a way of sort of guessing. I would say, if you asked me, or if I really had to give you my opinion, or if I had no choice, I would say that this is true. So I don't really believe it 100%, but for now, it's sort of my opinion. This is what we call hedging. Hedging. And it's a way of giving yourself a way to get out of it, like an insurance policy. It's a way of saying, well, I didn't really say that 100% true. To be honest with you, it's not my favorite kind of expression. I think if someone asks you a question, you should answer it and give your opinion and believe in your opinion. But you do hear people say this. It's one of the ways we use would. We take would out of the conditional sentence, the classical conditional structure, and we use it in a variety of ways. I'll give you another example. And this is an example I'm sure you've heard. Person A says, would you close the door? Or would you help me? Would you close the door? This is how we make a polite request. And it's polite, as in all things polite, politeness comes from giving the other person power. Right? That's what politeness really is. It's giving the other person power. Here, we're giving the other person the opportunity or the power to say no. Would you close the door? No, I can't. Or, yes, sure. Or, would you help me move my apartment on the weekend? Oh, I can't. I'm busy. Oh, sure, I'll help you. You're giving them the power to say yes or no. Okay? Why? Would means unreal. And until someone says yes or no, this is unreal. There's no door closing yet. The other person has to agree to it and say yes or say no. So this is unreal. This condition is not possible yet. And if you really want to expand this to see the true conditional structure, it would be something like this. Would you close the door if you were able to? Or if you don't mind, right? That's the other half of the conditional sentence. Okay? So, would you close the door? That's a conditional sentence turned into a request, and this magic word would is expressing the unreal meaning. So, in this example, I would say, it's not real yet. My opinion is not real yet. Okay? I'm not really putting my opinion in the world with 100% certainty. I'm allowing myself to backtrack and say, well, I didn't really believe that. I would say it's a way of hedging or ensuring that you can retract or change your mind later. Right? Right now, if you ask me, I would say, right? If you ask me, do you think the price of oil will increase? Do you think the price of gas at the gas station for my car will increase? Right now, if you ask me right now, I would say it's going up. But it might not go up. Right? It's not real yet, but I would say. So it's my guess. But I'm not 100% certain of it. Okay? So that's what that means. Let's clear the board and look at the next question. Hopefully that cleared up a little English mystery for our friend. I don't remember who asked that. Oh, we have Mark Zeggers here. Welcome to the show, Mark, from Toronto. Haven't seen you pop on for a while. It's always great to see you. Who else is with us? Mitch Riverman. What country are you in, Mitch? Nice to have you with us. Who else has joined us? Okay, let's go to the next question, guys. This is an outstanding question. How do I choose a gerund or an infinitive verb? Like, I am considering to join the club, or I'm considering joining the club. Yeah, this is an ongoing question we get all the time. Gerunds and infinitives. I'm going to try and break this down pretty easily. But the way to master the use of infinitives and gerunds is not easy. The answer is pretty clear. But learning to, developing the skill of choosing is not easy. It takes work. Okay, first question we have to clear up is, which one is accurate English grammar? Well, the first one is not. The second one is. The choice of using a gerund or infinitive verb after a verb. Okay, so the verb here is am considering. It doesn't matter what form the verb is. Right here it's present continuous or present progressive. It could be present perfect, past perfect, simple past, simple present. The tense doesn't matter. Okay? But the choice of using the infinitive or the gerund does depend on the verb. What do I mean? Well, we've talked about this before. Verbs fall into either one of two camps, one of two categories. They're either transitive or intransitive. Now, I'm not going to spend the next 2 hours explaining transitivity to you because I have a full video in the English Weirdness series. So if you really want to understand this after tonight, go to my YouTube channel, Hard Boiled English on YouTube, Hard Boiled English, and look for the episode of English Weirdness, which is a 2-part episode, 9 and 10, number 9, number 10. It's all about verb transitivity. Okay, it explains it with graphics and animations very clearly, very in-depth. But here's the simple way of looking at it. If a verb is transitive, it must be followed by a direct object. And a direct object has to be a noun. Okay? Intransitive must not be followed by a direct object. Okay? So we can't have that. I'll give you 2 quick examples. Intransitive. I write. That's my hobby. I write. Subject, verb, no object. I sleep. I sleep every night. Every night is an adverb. You can have subject, verb, adverb. I sleep every night. Okay? Transitive verb must be followed by an object, like I enjoy pizza. Or let's say I eat pizza. Or let's use like. I like pizza. Subject, verb, object. Pizza is a noun. Okay? In English, I can't say just I like. Some languages you can. In English, you can't. If you say I like, someone's going to say, you like? You like what? Now, if you're in a conversation, somebody could say, hey, do you like pizza? And you can say, yes, I like it. But you need that noun after like because it's a transitive verb. Now, some verbs can be both. some are not. How to know which verbs are transitive or intransitive or a switcher? It takes time to learn. If you want, you can study. Every dictionary listing tells you if a verb is transitive or intransitive or T/I. There's no substitute for studying sometimes. I studied verbs to know which one's transitive. But I also spent my life speaking English and noticing the patterns too. That's another way to learn, if you have time, right? I've been learning English for at least 50 years. So let's go back to our example. Considering is a verb, right? And it is a transitive verb. You have to consider something. Subject, I, verb, consider something. And guess what? Verbs, infinitive verb or another verb, are not some things. They are not things. They are not nouns. An infinitive verb, big surprise, is a verb. So that can't come after a transitive verb. You can't have a transitive verb followed by a verb. What's the rule? Transitive verb must be followed by an object. The object has to be a noun. Nouns come in 4 different types. A gerund is a noun. ing form of a verb is a noun. It's no longer a verb. It's only a verb if you have the be verb with it. If it's a gerund, it's a noun. You could also have an actual noun, an object noun like pizza. You could say, I am considering pizza. Hey, what do you want for dinner tomorrow night at the party? Well, I'm considering pizza, right? Or what do you want to study in university? I'm considering philosophy. That's a noun. It could also be a noun phrase. A series of nouns, right? Like, what do you want to do for your vacation? Well, I'm considering a cruise on the ocean. Cruise is a noun. Ocean's a noun. A cruise on the ocean. That's a noun phrase. Could also be a noun clause, which has a verb inside it. Like, I'm considering that I will take a cruise. Right? That's possible. So nouns come in these forms. Gerund is the ing form of a verb turned into a noun. It transforms. So the ing gerund can be after this because it's a transitive verb. That's why we do not use infinitive verb after consider. Now, you use it after other verbs, right? But not consider. Okay? Now, how do you know that? Well, that's what learning's all about. You have to learn which verbs are transitive and which verbs are intransitive. Lots of ways to learn. Like I said, you can study the dictionary, or you can just expose yourself to so much English that you pick it up. You pick up the structures that you hear and work, and those that you don't hear, right? That takes a long time. It helps if you read and you can see the structures of verbs plus what comes next. But let's face it, a lot of English learners are young and don't like to read. That, my friends, is a mistake. Read. You want to learn a language, especially English with its irregular structures, you got to read. Okay? So that's why those sentences are, one is accurate English and one is not. It all comes down to verb transitivity. Verb transitivity decides what comes after the verb. What can come after the verb, what can't. Okay? Let's have a look. Rie Suzuki is joining us from Aichi, Japan. Hi, Rie. We have Tutor Jack Network. We have Facebook user I. Hi. Okay. Facebook user, you're probably watching us from a Facebook group. And when you do that, I can't see your name. So please say hello and tell me what your name is. We also have Learn with Tirath. Tirath, good morning from Nepal. My friend Tirath from Nepal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to have you with us, Tirath. Okay, guys, we have some time now. Let's take some of your questions. What do you want to know about English? What's your English mystery? We just had 2 good questions sent in previous shows. Okay, let's see what's on your mind. And guys, I'll remind you that on Tuesday, I'm having a writing webinar. This event is free, but you need to register by emailing me at hardboiledenglish6@gmail.com. So register as soon as you can for this free writing webinar. Let's put the graphic up. Yep. It's called What is a Hook and Why Does My Writing Need One? This is the first of a new series of live webinars I'm going to give to build up towards my soon-to-be-released online course platform. Okay, so come and join me. It's a free event, but I need you to register in advance, okay? Looks like we have a... Tira says, that would be a wonderful day for me. Do you mean the webinar? I hope you join us, Tira. I think you did register already, yeah. Great to have you with us, as always. So guys, what's your question? What's on your mind? Yeah, in the meantime, as you post your questions, I'm going to introduce the vocabulary word of the day. This is a little segment I like to call words to use instead of bad. Every week I like to introduce a new piece of adjective because my students tend to use good and bad too much. Those words are kind of meaningless and definitely not specific. So last year we looked at words to use instead of good. This year we're looking at words to use instead of bad. And today's word's a good one. It is undesirable. Undesirable, which means not wanted or approved of, likely to cause trouble or problems. So it's an adjective describing something, undesirable. So let's give you a couple of examples. I got an undesirable grade. You know, I was a pretty bad high school student, and I got a lot of undesirable grades. I wanted high grades, but I didn't like doing my homework. So I didn't study, I didn't get high grades. So I got an undesirable grade on my test, okay? What else can we say? We can use the other structure, which is the be verb structure. She has an undesirable visitor. Actually, let's say we. I've recently had mice in my apartment. Now, mice are cute, but they're kind of creepy and annoying too. So I like mice if they're in a little cage or a little glass aquarium as a pet. They look cute. I like mice in cartoons and animated movies. I don't like them crawling around my feet. So, mice are an undesirable visitor. I didn't invite them into my apartment, but some of them came. Okay? Let's see you guys try to use this word in a sentence. Put your sentence in the chat box. Okay, Tirath says, I often get undesirable calls. Absolutely, me too. Almost every day I get a phone call that's a scam or a spam or robot. It's terrible. Undesirable calls, undesirable phone calls. Check the spelling though, Tirath. I think you spelled it with a O. It should be a U. Undesirable. Undesirable. Who else can give me a sentence with this adjective? Test it out. Test drive the adjective. Who's got an example we can share? Don't be shy, guys. This is how you learn. Practice. Practice. Mark Zeggers, if you're still watching, give me a sentence with undesirable. Yes, Tirath, typo. I'm sure you noticed. Okay, festival day on Tuesday. Well, I hope you enjoy the festival. Maybe sometime you can show me some photos of a festival. Ria is with us. Hi, Ria. Where are you right now, Ria? Are you in Japan or are you in Australia? Ria was our guest on our podcast episode number 2 or 4. I can't remember. Maybe 2. So check that out. Carmen has an example. Yes, the war will bring undesirable effects. Absolutely. We don't want these effects, right? The meaning of undesirable is something you don't want. Because the root word in here, guys, if you notice, is desire. Desire means to want something, usually strongly, to desire something. And desirable is a word you can use instead of good. Desirable is something you do want. This is the opposite. This is undesirable. Something you don't want or you don't approve of or likely to cause trouble. And all war, including the recent one, brings undesirable results. Yes, Tirith, like my mice, sometimes we are bothered with undesirable guests. Yes. Sometimes they're mice. Sometimes they're friends that you weren't expecting. Or sometimes they're people you don't want knocking on your door. They want to sell you something. Ria's watching from Brisbane, Australia. Ripper, mate. Watching from Brisbane, Australia. Great. Great to have you here, Ria. Chris has got a good example for us. The heavy storms in Belgium had an undesirable impact on my work. I was focused on the roof. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of water coming in, Chris. I mean, I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's a terrible impact to have, but the way you've worded your sentence is a nice surprise at the end. Very nice. Okay, what else do we have here? Ria says, my phone got undesirable advertisements. Yes. Yeah. All the time, right? Isn't it awful? Not to mention, not just your phone, all social media, for example, is packed with undesirable advertisements. It's quite annoying. Actually, sometimes I have events like the live show or my webinar, and of course I want to let people know about it, so I kind of need to advertise. I don't like it. I feel bad. I feel like I'm annoying people. Hopefully someone wants to attend one of my events, so they don't mind the advertisement. And of course, if I don't advertise, they won't know it's happening. So it's necessary, but I just feel like I'm another annoying ad. I don't want to be like that. Okay, Chris has a good example here. Although I appreciate her staying with us, her behavior was undesirable the last time she came here. Great sentence. Fantastic. Her behavior was undesirable, right? You didn't approve of her behavior, right? You didn't want her to behave that way. It was undesirable behavior. Great sentence, Chris. Thank you. Who else has an example for us? Well, Chris from Belgium, I hope the heavy storms are over. Right? I hope the roof is fixed, no water's coming in, and you're safe and cozy and warm. Anyone else have an example for us? Undesirable, guys. Undesirable. Carmen from Lima, Peru says, the high prices of oil will have undesirable consequences in the following months. This is true. One of the consequences of the recent invasion of Ukraine is heavy sanctions against Russia. Russia exports a lot of oil to many of our countries. So for a while, the oil will go up in price. However, the economies of other countries will adjust, I'm confident, including Canada. We produce a lot of oil and we can produce more. So our government will produce more oil and export it, hopefully, to your countries. And the more we do that, the cheaper it gets. So it'll be a period of adjustment. And our friends in Saudi Arabia will also adjust and maybe open reserves. Prices will come down eventually, but it does take time. But I think it's also important not to buy Russian oil at the moment, not to give them money until they stop what they're doing. But that's politics. Let's leave politics out of my show until the end. This is a show where we have fun and share our passion for learning English and our passion for community and friendship around the world. I would be stupid if I didn't mention the events in Europe. They're unfortunate and they're sad. It's real life, but here on this show, it's a break from that, okay? So I'm guilty of mentioning it, but I would be stupid and dishonest if I didn't mention it, because it's real life, and people are being affected. One of our regular viewers, for example, Boris, he's in Ukraine, so I'm worried about him, and I haven't heard from him the last couple of weeks, so it's real for the hard-boiled English family. I care about you guys, and, it's tough times around the world. But we'll get through it, because we're amazing people. Anyone else have a sentence example using undesirable? Okay, Chris, another one. Chris always has multiple. The roof is not fixed yet. There are undesirable waiting times. Seems like whenever you have repairs, and Chris, this is true in every country, I think. When you hire someone to do repairs, it takes a long time. They might tell you it takes 2 weeks, and then at 2 weeks becomes 4, it becomes 5. It's always longer. Actually, that's not true, not always. Last year, some workers came to my apartment to change all the floor. And they said it would be something like 10 days, and it only took 8 days. Anyway, they were a day or two early. First time I've ever heard of that. It was kind of impressive. Yes, undesirable waiting times. Any other sentence examples, guys? Has everyone taken a turn? Is anyone holding back? Teacher, I'm too shy to make a sentence. No, you're not. We're all shy. And if we're all shy, that means no one's shy. I'm shy, but I'm doing this live show for you guys. So if I can do a live show, you can give me a sentence. Any examples, guys? If not, we're going to move to some questions. If you guys have some questions about grammar or vocabulary, sentence structures, anything, let's spend the next few minutes answering your questions. Did I miss anyone's questions? Let's see. Okay, let's clear the word of the day. Sakurako has a question. Now, Sakurako, I just answered this question, but I'll go back to it because maybe you missed it. What's the difference between I like to swim and I like swimming? It's exactly what we just went through with considering. Okay, so we said that like is a transitive verb, which means it needs an object at the end of it, right? Not a verb. It needs an object like swimming, because swimming is a noun. It's a gerund noun. However, like is one of those verbs that can be transitive with a direct object after it, subject, verb, direct object. Let's put them up here. So this is the transitive meaning, and it is correct. I like swimming. It can also be intransitive. So this is the intransitive meaning. So it doesn't need a direct object after it sometimes. To swim is not a gerund, it's not a noun, it's an infinitive verb. Is there a difference in meaning? Okay. To swim is not a noun. It's never a noun. It's a verb. It's the infinitive verb. Okay? It's not a noun usage. It's not a noun. It's never a noun. It's a verb. Infinitive verb is a verb. Gerund is a noun. The difference is some verbs can use both. It's about the verb. In this case, the meaning doesn't really change. Okay? Swimming, when it's a gerund, it's the name of the activity. Right? Like the Olympic sport is called swimming or running or rowing. It's the name of the activity. Or I like cooking or eating. It's the name of the activity. This is more like expressing that you like the action. Okay? I like swimming. Let me put it this way. I like swimming when I watch it on TV. I do. I like watching the great fast swimmers. It's incredible. I like swimming. I don't like to swim though, because to swim is a verb. It's expressing the action. So if you say, I like to swim, you're telling me that you like doing that action. I like to do that action. Here, you're telling me you like the name of that activity. Now, that may also include you participating. It might not. Depends. For me, I like swimming. It's the name of the sport. I like watching the sport. I don't really like to swim. I'm just bad at it. I sink. Okay? But the difference here is not that this is a noun. It's not. It's a verb. The difference is this verb is allowed to have an infinitive or a noun. I like pizza. I like swimming. Okay? I like eating. Some verbs can't. There's even a small group of verbs that can have infinitive verbs and gerunds, but the meaning is very different. The good news is it's a small group. Things like stop, remember. So for example, if I said, we stopped to smoke, or we stopped smoking, they're both possible, they're both correct, and they're both very different. I stopped smoking means you had the activity or the habit of smoking, and you stopped the activity. You quit the habit. If we say, we stopped to smoke, it sounds like you were driving the car on the highway, and you stopped the car. Why? For the purpose to smoke a cigarette or a cigar or a pipe or whatever. You stopped for that reason, because infinitive verb can express a reason. I traveled to the mountains to ski. I came to Canada. Why? To study. Right? The reason can be expressed with the infinitive. So stop is a verb that can have both intransitive or transitive structure with different meanings. With like, the meaning's basically the same. Right? Okay, Sakurako, you're saying I like to swim. SVO. It's not SVO. Subject, verb. That's infinitive verb. It's not an object. It's not a noun, so it can't be the object. Not every English sentence is SVO. Only when you have a direct object or an indirect object, and they have to be nouns. That's an infinitive verb. So you're saying, I like to do that action. Actions are expressed with verbs, right? There's a lot of sentences are SVO, but I can show you several structures that aren't. Like, she ran. How did she run, Paul? Quickly. That is a complete sentence, but it's subject, intransitive verb, adverb. Right? I could also give you a sentence like, he is happy. That's a complete sentence, but it's subject, be verb, adjective. Right? So English sentence structure is not always SVO. Right? There's a lot of structures available, like this one, SV, infinitive verb. I like to do that action. That's what you're saying. You're not saying I like that thing. To swim is not a thing. That is a complete verb structure. Now, the reason you need infinitive verb is because in English, you cannot have a base form verb and another base form verb. This is impossible in English. I like swim. Some of my Spanish-speaking students often make this error because I think in Spanish you can have verb plus verb. Like, I like swim, or I need cook my dinner, or I want buy a shirt. That's impossible in English. You can't have a verb and a verb. Something's got to separate them. So we use the infinitive verb, which has the particle to, which kind of separates the two verbs. Like, swim. Why do we have that structure? Don't we normally just like things, right? You know, language reflects reality. Language reflects our human nature and our human experience, Sakurako. So if I say I like, well, what can a human being like? Well, we can like things. We all like things, right? We like pens, cars, jackets, hats, phones, objects, nouns. So we know that we can like things, which are nouns. You know, we can also like people. I like you. Well, people are nouns. But guess what? We can also, by the way, we can also like facts or ideas. I like that you ask questions. You ask questions is a fact, right? It's a clause. You ask questions. It's a true fact. And I like that fact, right? So I can like a fact. But guess what? Just think about life. We also like to do things. We like actions. We can like actions. To do things. To do, let me just restructure this. We like to do actions. And that's just the nature of the verb's meaning. Like, not all verbs, but this verb, like, we can like certain things. We can like objects, people, places. We can like nouns. We can also like to do things, right? I like to do actions. And look closely. To do. That's the infinitive verb structure. So when you want to express that you like to do certain actions, use the infinitive verb. I like to swim. When you say that, I have a picture in my mind of you in the pool swimming and enjoying yourself because you like to do that action, right? So yes, you're asking me, are they interchangeable? Yes, so they're both correct grammar. Basically, they're interchangeable, right? The meaning is pretty much the same. There's a slight difference though. No two words are the same. No two sentences really express the same thing. If you say, I like to swim, that tells me that you like to do that action. If you say, I like swimming, it could mean that you like the action. It could also mean you just like the name of the sport. You like the sport. Like in my case, I like watching it on TV in the Olympics. I don't really like to do the action. So let's say they're 95% interchangeable. There's just a tiny difference in implied meaning. What's the purpose of that? Well, what's the value of that? Well, here's the value. With a slightly different meaning, you can choose which one you really are expressing, right? That's the goal of having really good control over different grammatical structures. They all express something a little bit different, just like synonyms, right? Synonyms, they say, teachers often tell you that synonyms are two words that mean the same thing. That's not true. If we have two words, it's because they have two different meanings. Now, the difference of meaning might be really small, it might be really subtle, it might be nuanced, but there's a difference in meaning. If they meant the same thing 100%, one of those words would have evolved away from use over time because it's pointless, it's redundant. Two different words have two different meanings, and so do two different grammar structures. So the goal of learning to control the structure of a sentence in your speech or in your writing is to be able to express exactly what you're thinking, exactly what you're imagining, right? Let's see. Can you scroll up a little bit? I think I missed Sakurako something. Oh, what we learn in different here. Sakurako, can we pop that up? Yes. This is a sad reality, but it's true. I work with Japanese students every month. I teach a class there. I see their materials. I've worked with a lot of Japanese students in Canada who bring their Japanese textbooks to me and show me. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of strange inconsistencies in those books and in the things that a Japanese student learns in Japan. That's just a sad fact. Some of it is really not accurate. It's unfortunate. So I'm sorry that you went through that. Now, usually when a Japanese student is learning English in the beginning, they're taught that English is an SVO structure while Japanese is a SOV structure. That's a comparison of the two structures, but it is not true that all English sentences are SVO, right? I can give you one really simple example. I did earlier with she ran quickly, but I could also make a sentence like this. I sleep, or I run. I run. It's my daily hobby, right? It's my exercise habit. I run. Well, what do we have here? S, V. These are both intransitive verbs that do not need an object. That is a complete sentence. It's a complete idea. You can't say I like. That doesn't work. You have to like something. But you can say this. That's a complete idea. And that's not SVO. That's just SV. And of course, you can put adverbs here. I sleep soundly, or I sleep well. I run quickly, or an adverb of time. I run every day. That's not true. I don't run every day, but you could put that. And that's not SVO. That's SV adverb. That's a different structure. Lots of different structures are available. We have Anishtaya joining us late night in Toronto. Somebody stayed up late. Wow. Sakurako has another one. She says, we can put two verbs together sometimes. Give me an example. Let's test that theory, my dear. Do you have an example of two verbs together? Because moments earlier I said it is impossible. And if I said it's impossible and you want to test it, let's test it. You can put two verbs together sometimes. Let's see. I want buy a new jacket. Right? I want buy. So my position is that this is impossible. I want buy. It's impossible in English. You can't put two base form verbs like that together. You can put a base form verb, or let's say even a past tense verb. I wanted. You can put another verb here, but it must be infinitive. I wanted to buy. That's possible. Okay, those five structures. SVC is a subject-verb complement. So that can be an adjective like SV. Okay, that's right. SVC, subject-verb complement. So she is happy. That's a complement. SVO, I like pizza. Subject, verb, direct object, indirect object, like I gave the pen to her. That's possible. Subject, verb, object, complement. That's fine too. Yeah, those are all fine. Yep. Inside that complement, though, there are lots of possibilities. There's lots of different kinds of complements. Okay, good. So go see. Come visit. Help. Good. So these are actually what we call ellipsis, right? Something's been taken out. Let's say, I will go see my friend. This is actually ellipsis, where something has been removed that would otherwise complete the grammar. Let's expand the idea. I will go where? I will go to, let's say I'll go to Toronto. So that's one complete idea. The secondary idea is, and I will see my friend. So if you have two complete ideas like this, look at the repetition. I will. Sorry, let's get rid of this. I will go to Toronto and I will see my friend. So we have repetition here. And if you're talking to someone who already knows some information, like where your friend lives, right? Like if you already know that your friend lives in Toronto, you don't need to say that. So that's a piece of redundancy. So we could say, we can cut that out. We can cut out the repetition. I will go and see my friend. Because really, this is two sentences. It's a subject, a verb, and is the conjunction that joins two sentences. And we know that the same subject, so it's implied, but now we have a second verb, right? And we had this place preposition phrase here with place to Toronto, but the other person knows that already. They know where the friend is. I will go and see my friend. So that's a collapsed version of it, okay? Now we're getting rid of a lot of pieces. I will go and see my friend. Sounds like a lot of words still. If you're in a conversation, you could take that out. And all the rest is implied. I will go see my friend. Just know, though, that this is now SVV structure. That's not really a normal structure in English. That's not really an accurate structure in English. It's kind of a collapsed version. So I wouldn't use that in writing in a formal setting, for example, because it's not a complete grammatical sentence. It's fine in speech, and all of this other material is now implied, right? So this is called ellipsis, when something is removed for convenience or expedience based on what the other person already knows, the context they may share. And the same thing here. I will come to Toronto and visit my friend. It's the same thing that's happened. A lot of material has been collapsed. I will help. By the way, help is funny because help works as a causative structure, which is pretty complex, but it's something like this. She got her friend to help. Oh, sorry, backwards. She helped her friend study the textbooks in the book. Okay, this is a causative structure. Usually we don't use it with help. Usually we use causative structure with got or had, like she had the hairdresser cut her hair. And it's two actions caused by the first one. So a typical causative would be she had the stylist cut her hair. And in this structure, you have a subject, a verb, an object. She had the stylist. And then you have a verb here and an object here. Who cut the hair? The stylist did. That means the stylist is also a subject. Okay? She had the stylist, so she, subject, had verb, stylist is the object and the subject of the next clause. So the stylist cut her hair. But what caused that? The stylist didn't just come up and cut her hair for nothing. No. She had the stylist do it. She made the stylist do it. How? By paying her. So she had someone do something because she paid them. So this subject caused the stylist to do that. That's a causative structure. Helped works the same way. She helped her friend. What did her friend do? Her friend studied the book. Okay? So that means friend is the subject of study, and that's the object. She helped her friend study the book. Now, if you're talking to the friend or the friend is known, we can drop that. And now you have she helped study the book because the friend is implied. And now it looks like you have a verb and a verb, but something's missing grammatically. So we can say that, but there's pieces missing from the full structure, right? She helped study the book, or something like this one. She helped me paint the house. Okay? So we have the subject, the verb, the object that doubles as a subject for this verb, and then the house is the object. She helped me paint the house. Well, if it's obvious that it's my house, and you already know that I painted, this is unnecessary. We can drop it. She helped paint the house. So although I agree, it looks like verb and verb, there's something missing here to make the complete grammatical meaning, right? So be careful with that. You can do these structures in speech and people will understand you, but in the written form, outside of the context, somebody may not understand you fully, right? What have I missed? Hopefully that clarifies that, Sakurako. Those are great questions and insights you brought. So I thank you for that. Can we go back a little bit, see what I've missed? Okay, let's go down. I think we've got that. On the spot. We have on the spot language with us. I've learned so much. Thank you. You're welcome. My pleasure. Well, I just realized, guys, we're past the hour, so it's time for me to turn into a pumpkin and disappear. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight for another night of Hard-Boiled English. Just a reminder, if you haven't and you want to attend the webinar on Tuesday afternoon, Vancouver time, what is a hook and why does my writing need one? Please join it. It's free, totally free, but you need to register by email at hardboiledenglish6@gmail.com, hardboiledenglish6@gmail.com, so that I can put you on the list and get you the link for the private webinar, okay? Also, don't forget to check out the most recent episode of the podcast, Ego Education Podcast with Mr. Kawatani Takashi, cross-cultural business consultant. Very interesting discussion. If you haven't already, please check out English Weirdness on YouTube, the flagship video series that I make with my students with in-depth explorations of grammar contradictions and irregularities and weird stuff. Okay? I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join me tonight and bring your questions and your English mysteries. I know there's a lot of heavy news out there. Try to stay positive. Try to stay healthy. Other things are still happening, right? We're still trying to get past the COVID epidemics. So stay healthy, take care of yourself and your families. Until I see you the next time, guys, please take care. T's and P's, thoughts and prayers if you're into that. To our friends in the Ukraine. Until then, guys, I'm going to say goodbye, good night, and as always, stay cool.